Yes. Welcome to the Diaspora Table Talk with Afande Maureen. I'm very happy to be here. Glad to be in these studios, which are Campfire television studios. My name is Maureen Asimwe Kalemba, and I'm your UNA representative here in New England. At the same time, I'm a legal person, and also I do Uganda Community Lawyering Association. At the same time, I'm the UNA Council Speaker. So with those, I work with the Massachusetts Trial Courts and also work with the Executive Office of Immigration Courts. So that's basically where I work, and also why I have the Afande name. I'm in the United States Military Reserves. So I'm in the reserves, and I work out of Brockton, Massachusetts, and Fort Devens. So in case you're looking for me, that's where you find me. So I'm thrilled today to have a program which I'm bringing out to you. I was here last 2 weeks, and I told you that I'll be starting up a program, and the program will be about the diaspora. And the diaspora, I'm into so much to bring up communities. I'm into building better communities. I'm into building better rapport, and I'm into improving our lives. So our lives cannot be improved when we don't follow the law. So I'm basically so much into the law. I'm basically so much into looking out to see that people do the right things at the right time in the right place. That is so meaningful for us to move our community forward. So with me in the studios, I have a guest, and my guest is Olivia Nambi. She works with the Massachusetts Trial Courts, and she will be the one to introduce herself and tell us more about herself. So Olivia Nambi, more welcome, and I'm very happy to be with you to start up this show so that we move the community in the right direction, and they know people like you who work for the courts. They are from our own origin. We're from Uganda, and we're doing the right thing. So most welcome, Olivia. The floor is yours to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Afande Momo. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's your girl, Olivia Nambi, and I'm thrilled to be the first guest with Afande Momo. I work, as she indicated, I work with the Massachusetts Trial Courts, currently working with the probation department, and we'll be going through all the spheres of the legal system. Basically, I've been with the trial courts for over 4 years now. Prior to that, I did do some work with the federal government.
Good.
So I did a lot of case management with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Afande Momo mentioned Fort Devens. I've been to Fort Devens with the institutions in the federal government.
Good.
From there, I transitioned and I worked with the U.S. Probation Office in Boston, still in their probation department, working with offenders, trying to get them back into the community successfully, but better still, avoiding us getting to that side of the legal system.
Yes.
So I think our main focus is making sure that we don't end up on that side of the legal system. But if we do, there is options. How do we get out? How do we turn our lives around and also make it to the other side?
That is very good. Thank you so much, Olivia, for that brief introduction. And knowing that this is what we are up to. We are up to making better communities. Our passion is to bring out the professions in us who have made it into the other side and who are seeing that we are doing the right things in the right time, in the right place. That is key to me, to see that we improve our communities. Our communities cannot improve if at all we are always on the other side of the law. So I'm glad we have you to help us in the probation department, and I want you to go into depth to explain to my audience what probation is all about, because people don't understand. They tell you, go to the probation department, and a person goes, what are you telling me?
Right.
So I don't know if you're going to start from there or just a brief for probation, like making it, even you can speak in a language which is comfortable for you, because our audience is from Uganda. So if you want to speak in Luganda to make it more viable, vibrant, do that. Or if you, because you know some people still, when you explain it in English, they may not understand it. So you need to break it down both ways so that they can understand it. So thank you so much.
So probation, I would say maybe I would start off what brings you to the court in the first place, because probation is usually the end of your journey,
court
of your journey in the court system. So people can come to the court, either it's a civil matter or it's a criminal matter. Civil matters could include restraining orders.
That's right.
It could include maybe some wrangles with housing department and all that good stuff. But usually there is not a lot of penalties that the judge has to hold you accountable for. My main focus is with the criminal justice system. And usually when you come into the courts on the criminal side of it, you're either summoned or you're arrested. When I say summoned, I mean you receive something in the mail alleging that Afande Momo on such and such a day you did A, B, C, D. So if you're summoned, please make sure you come. Because if you don't come, that's when the warrant issues and your side of the story will want to be known. So that starts another craziness. And I know most of our people, they get scared. You see a paper from the courthouse addressed to you,
and you don't want to
get scared, you don't want to come. But please, 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 I can't emphasize it enough. Always show up.
Turn up, because that's when you're going to talk about your side of the story. They will never hear your side of the story if you don't turn up.
Show up.
And if you run away from the law, somehow it's always presumed that you're guilty. But why are you running? You know, you may be running when you're just scared, but when you're not guilty. So come up, say something so that we learn from you what exactly happened.
And the good thing about it is, like, everybody that works in the court system, we know people are nervous. It's not a pleasant place to go.
It's not.
So we expect the nerves, we expect you to be uncomfortable, but please always show up. And you feel like, and most people, when you come, if you don't know something, please ask. If you need an interpreter, I know there's a lot of legal issues, legal words that might be difficult to some other people. Please always speak up. Excuse me, I would like an interpreter. I guarantee you, in our state of Massachusetts, legally, a judge cannot move forward if they are not confident that you understand the proceedings.
And does a person appoint their own interpreter, or the court appoints the interpreter?
The court provides the interpreter.
The court provides the interpreter. So the interpreter will never come as best friends to somebody.
No.
He will come as a court official.
So you can't show up with one of your friends, one of your aunties, your mama, to just come interpret for you. The court provides interpreter for you, and it's free of charge.
And it's free of charge.
So you don't have to worry
You don't have to
about
pay or anything. So I had recently a case. I'm one of the court interpreters. Recently a case, and somebody said, oh, they are friends with the person. I said, I'm a court official. I'm not going to give you the information which you need to hear. And yet me, I'm a court official. So I wanted you to come and tell us the side of the story, how interpreters are taken into consideration so that people do not misunderstand the two. And thank you for elaborating that, and continue with when you get the summons and then you come to court, and then what happens next?
So that's another thing I want to touch base on. Interpreters are as known as court officials. So don't come in just to see Olivia. I know Olivia. You expect me to tell you
everything,
because I'm still accountable. I took an oath to be a court official.
Thank you, Olivia, for that.
Just something to be mindful about. So when you come in, it's a summons. You come in, always they tell you to report to the probation department. At that point, when you report to the probation department, they ask some financials, ask where you live, if you have any legal status in the States. Don't be afraid to come just because you don't have any legal status in the state, because the judge is not worried about it. That's not an immigration court, it's a criminal court.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I want to mention to our population. Just because you don't have a legal status, that does not mean that you don't come to court. Because again, if you don't come, a warrant will issue, and then an arrest will lead into other problems.
Yeah.
Always show up. So when you come in, going to the probation department, there's always two options if it's a criminal case.
Yes.
You're either going to hire your own lawyer,
Yes.
or you want a court to appoint you a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's another misunderstanding.
Yeah.
People are under the impression that all court-appointed lawyers don't do their job.
Don't do their
Please
job.
don't be mistaken.
Yeah.
If you can't afford a lawyer, just
Talk.
come in.
Ask
Questions, step up, let it be to the clerk's office or the probation office, tell them, I'm here, I need a lawyer. They'll provide a lawyer for you.
Yeah, and these lawyers are always affordable ones, which you can be able to afford. And the misconception is that they don't do their job. It's just that you've given them limited information, and that's how they're going to be on to the other side. But if they're giving you the law and what you need to abide with, try to listen to them, try to get the side of the story, or go do more research. You know, even in medical, they tell you go seek a second opinion.
Correct.
So even in the legal world, go seek a second opinion and see if at all the government lawyer or the private lawyer you're trying to hire are all saying the same thing. If they're in the same rhythm, then you know that they're doing the right thing and they're trying to do the right thing for you. So when you get the lawyer, then what happens next?
So when you get the lawyer, you have to go in front of a judge.
Yeah.
That's when you're
arraigned.
You're arraigned. Basically, what arraignment means, you're being read what it's alleged you did.
What it's alleged you did.
Exactly.
And these arraignments mostly comes out of the police report or something that has been alleged with you. Is that right?
Right. So usually before, when you get that summons into the courtroom, there's a criminal complaint.
Yes.
So for example, if Momo alleges that I beat her up for some reason, a police will generate a report. They have to take it to the clerk's office to make sure there's enough probable cause to say. So that's what is being read to you in front of the court on your arraignment day. So it's alleging, Olivia, on this day and so it's alleged that you and Momo got into a fight. And at that point, the judge will tell you you're presumed innocent.
Until proved guilty.
Until proven guilty. You will get a lawyer and then the due course starts from there. Usually you get another date for like pre-trials,
discovery.
Exactly. Discovery and compliance. Those are dates that, because the beauty about America is you're never guilty. You're never guilty.
Until the whole court process, the whole due process. That's what they call it. They call it a due process. Until the whole due process is done, that is when they will give a jury. You may have a jury trial or a standalone judge, and that is when they will tell you whether you're guilty or not.
Or not guilty. So they do with the pre-trial dates, discovery and compliance. You come in. So basically, those dates are for the government that is alleging that you did so and so to provide proof that you did it. Mind you, there are areas where they'll find out that maybe the police entered your house wrongly. So that case will be thrown out.
A wrong search warrant.
Exactly. So that's when you have to show up. Exactly. Sometimes there are motions that are being taken in front of the judge to just know. Or maybe in instances, I see a lot of our friends that come into court just because they were stopped by the police. And then just because you're stopped by the police, it doesn't mean that the police can go inside your car.
No.
So if the police goes inside your car, that's something that could be thrown out in the courts of law. So that's something to be mindful about. So after the pre-trial and all those good dates, there's something that is called probable disposition. So that's when you want to think about, you and your lawyer talk about options. Do I want to go to trial? Do I want to solve this case today? So basically your lawyer will be able to walk you through what are your pros and cons. Also, the government can, if it's your first time being in the legal system, the government can offer some options. Be like, hey, maybe Olivia was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. If you do this class, we will dismiss the case. So the things you have to weigh. So if you choose not to take any of those options, then the next step is going to the trial.
You've opted for trial instead of, you know.
So the trial, there are 3 different kinds of trial. There's a jury trial, where they get
already mentioned about.
We've talked about that. They get different members in the community to come in. You get a chance to pick what members you want on your jury trial.
Yeah, so let's pause a little bit on the jury trial. So some people in our community get those jury letters to go and be on the jury, and serve on the jury. So some of them miss them, or even have other commitments that they could not. So can you shed light how they could go about that, so that they cannot fall in trouble?
Right. So if you,
because when you miss jury duty, there's trouble. You can go into jail. Yeah.
I think that's very important that you mentioned that. One of the rights for those that are citizens, one of your obligations is to serve on the jury. So if you get that letter, if you can make it, please come. If you don't come, then a warrant will issue and a lot of issues will take over from there. But if you can't make it, there is a number on that letter that they send you. If it's usually called 1-800-JURY. Call that number and give them the reasons as to why you can't come. They are very good about rescheduling those trials because there is courts all over the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So if you can't make it today, you can make it another day. If you can make it, you can't make it at Waltham District Court, you can make it in Lowell District Court or Woburn. So always call. There is a number there. There is also an email. I think it's the Office of the Jury Trial at jud.ma, and I don't have the number, the email off my head. But you can send an email. But
we shall share it. Yeah, we shall share it.
Or better still, there's a website.
Yeah, we can
you
Google
can
it.
go to. Right. And then just show up.
Good. So anyway, so we have the jury trial. That's the first trial you were talking about, which is comprised of 6 or 12 people.
6 to 12 people. You get an opportunity with you and your lawyer to pick the people that you want to be on part of your trial. There's also another type of trial. It's a bench trial.
Yes.
So that's when you go in front of the judge. So you opt not to have the community have a say in the court proceedings, but it's a case in front of you and the judge. So basically, the judge hears the facts, your lawyer presents the defense, and then the judge makes a decision on where to go.
Oh, so but there is some cross-examination, right?
Yes.
Yes. So there's some cross-examination from the other party who is alleging, and then also the other party is put on the stand or may not be put on the stand. Most of the judges opt for these people not to take the stand because they would incriminate themselves and cause perjury.
Yes.
So,
yeah, that's, I think you mentioned a very key point. Usually, if you're the defendant, when I say defendant, I mean if it's you that is being alleged you committed a crime, it's not advisable to take a stand because you might say certain things that maybe might be excluded, but you will just say it by consciously, and then that will incriminate you. But the one thing that you have a right to is to cross-examine the people that are alleging that you did whatever it's alleged that you've been done. So always feel free if you have questions, if you need clarity. Those are conversations that you have with your lawyer. And the lawyer will ask those cross-examinations. If you have any evidence to bring in, always bring in evidence. If you don't, also say, I don't have anything. Please don't lie.
Yes, please don't lie, because it's going to be very, very
it's
terrible
never
for
good.
you.
Don't lie. If you don't know something, just say, I don't know. If the judge will ask, do you have any evidence? If you don't have anything, just say, I don't know. Just don't make up things.
So now we're in the bench trial, the jury trial, and so we finished the trial process. Somebody has been found not guilty. That person is let go. And then the one who's found guilty, that's where you should start from now.
So the one that is found guilty, then that comes to the point where there is disposition, where it's the sentencing part. Either usually, a lot of things play into fact. So either you get probation, or you get a split sentence where you do some time and then do probation, or you get a sentence. So probation, if you get straight probation.
So that's when you're going to define for us what probation is right now.
So if you get probation, probation basically, our mission statement is that we protect the community. We are there to help you. Basically guide you through this probationary period. The judge could say it's 12 months, it's 2 years, and they require you to do A, B, C, D. So my job is there to guide you and make sure you're successful on this probation. But also you have to put into consideration that I took an oath, we mentioned this earlier, so I have to protect the community, I have to protect the victims, if there's any victims involved in the case, I have to protect the court, and for some reason, If you're not abiding with what the conditions the court set forth, I have to bring it back in front of the judge and let the court know.
Yeah.
So basically, in a gist of things, that's what we do.
Probation does, yeah.
But the misconception that most of our people have they think probation is up to get you.
Yes.
But really, probation is
up to help you. Yeah.
So please don't run away from us. Yeah. Usually, if the judge requires you to do some classes, to pay some monies, maybe do community service, talk to your probation officer. They'll help you. They have the resources.
They do.
And the good thing about it, the state has provided money that will help you do these things. If it's a class, especially the common cases that I see, Momo, is driving under the influence. DUIs, they are common everywhere.
There's and a lot they have the same classes.
Exactly.
Like the brain injury class.
Exactly. So they have you have to do the 24D program or the half-day brains and risk. If you don't have money for those classes, the beauty about our state, talk to your probation officer, they'll bring it back, and the judge will waive that fee for you.
Yes.
The goal is to make sure you do these classes. The goal is not to get money from you. And I think that's where most of our people misconclude.
Because the money is a lot, maybe, and then they think, oh, they are trying to take all my money away. And they do not negotiate. They don't come into to talk about what they're incapable of doing. So while we are building better communities, we are trying to tell you that when you're in trouble, still go back to that institute that you think that is against you. That institute has ways to help you become better, not ways to help you to lose out what you really have, the small little thing that you have. But it has the opportunities to give you so that you become the best person there is, and so that you improve your own community, your own household. You know, because if at all you're falling in trouble, your household is not proper. Because if trouble is coming for you, trouble is coming for your children, trouble is coming for your wife, trouble is coming for everybody, your church, your community. So it's so for us, when I met Olivia Nambi, I met her when we were working in the courts, and I go like, I'm very happy, thrilled to see a Ugandan who is also in the court system. And from then, I had to interact with her to know more what she does and how she can help our communities. And when I was studying this program, when I was studying UNA, because UNA, I made a committee of 12 people who would help me with the New England area. So in the New England area, she came up and said, oh, Afande Momo, I'm right here. I need to serve. So she came up to serve, to make our communities better. So we have now 2 people from the Massachusetts courts onto the New England committee. Myself and Olivia, right here. She's the New England Council Secretary. She's our secretary for the New England Council. So if you have problems, she's there to serve you. She's there to help you. We're bringing people who are professional, who know what to do, and who are going to guide you in the right direction. The direction is not to make ourselves look good. I always tell you, I hate leaders who make themselves look good. The direction is to improve our lives. The direction is to make ourselves better. The direction is to know why we are here, to know what we do, why we came to America, or why we're in the diaspora, wherever you are, that the system helps you to improve you and not to demolish you. So thank you very well for elaborating that for the probation ways of payment of money. So if somebody is not paying, what are the repercussions for that person who is not paying, and what are things that he may fall in trouble with?
So not paying, if you're on probation, that's when a violation will issue. Those are some of the things that we talked about.
Would they get a warrant of arrest again or something?
Not right away. As I said, remember, we are here to help you, so don't run away. So if you don't pay, your probation officer might reach out to you and say, hey, Olivia, you haven't paid for 3 months. What's going on? They are trying to negotiate with you to just see what options. If you don't have enough money, can you pay a little? If you fail to pay a little, then that's when a violation will issue. If the violation issues, it's mailed to your address. If you don't show up, then a warrant will issue. But also, that plays into factor how you've been doing with all the other conditions. If you've been doing good, and the only thing you're struggling with is money, then we might work it out. But if you're not doing good and you're still not paying money, then a warrant will issue. But better still, In Massachusetts, there is a law, it's new, it's called the Henry's Law. This law protects the population from not paying money to the court system. But you have to basically, you fill out a form that shows your financials.
Yeah.
So let me say if you bring in $3,000 a month, you spend $2,500 a month. You show you pay rent, you pay utilities, you take care of your children. Then you have about $200 left for the month. The courts are not going to take that money. So basically, the judge might find that, oh, Momo doesn't have an ability to pay. But Momo can complete the other aspects of the probation.
Yes.
Also, they have an opportunity to do community service.
Yes.
So if you can't pay money, you can always pay community service.
So can you elaborate to us what community service things that people do?
So basically, it's...
Do they like picking trash or something?
That's another misconception that people have.
Yeah, I have to put it out there.
Right. So I think the court still have, it's called Office of Community Corrections.
Yes.
They have a van.
Yes, they do.
So basically you go to wherever you live, the nearest courthouse that you have, you show up on that van and you tell them, I'm here for community service. They take you to different organizations.
Yes.
Ideally non-profit organizations for you to do. It might be cleaning up, it might be mentoring young kids, it might be, especially I see a lot of immigrants that go work with the Boys and Girls Club to help out, maybe teach English, something to give back to the community.
Okay.
But if you don't want to do it that way, they also give you an option to find an organization that you're passionate about.
Yes.
Just submit that organization to the community service office or to your probation officer, and they'll allow you to do it there. I know I have some of my fellow Ugandans that I have on my caseload, and I tell them, if you want to go serve at a church in our community, if you want to go do community service that is helping our community grow, then I'm all up for it. You don't have to do it through the
to other communities. But you can come to our own community and do the community service here. Like we have the Uganda-Boston community, so you can volunteer in there and put in your hours, which are for probation court in here. We have the UNA. You can come to UNA and put in your hours right here. So these are the things that we are talking about, that people have a conception that, oh, I don't want... people do think that when they come to Ugandans to work in there, the Ugandans are going to talk about them and mess up everything and tell everybody that they're doing community service. But I would love to work where I'm comfortable or where I feel like there's nothing, people will help me than me being stuck somewhere else. However, I want to say if, like I've witnessed a probation case where somebody has to just call into the probation officer and then they don't really have to come to court every time. How many times do you say probation officer when you're in probation, and how long does probation run, and what are the things that can be, you know, dealt away with, and the probation officer just says, this, I'll deal with this, just do this, and that will be it.
So I think so probation, there's two types of probation. There's one they call an administrative probation and a risk need probation. So an administrative probation, those are individuals that have maybe done minor offense. I hate to say minor because nothing is minor in the criminal justice system. But it's like a misdemeanor. Yes, like a misdemeanor. So that way you might just say maybe you get probation for 9 months. Basically what the court wants you to do, not to get in trouble. So they are not sending any conditions for you. So in your case, you'll have to call in every 3 months. It's called checking in every 3 months. So it could be by email, in person, by phone, or you just call. Most people prefer to call. Some people prefer to send in an email, as long as you have any type of contact in those 90 days. But the other risk need one that I talked about, that's the more invasive probation. That's when the probation officer will come out to your house to see where you live. We'll do reports with the people you live with. We'll do like investigations, how you're acting in the community. They'll need you to report maybe every 2 weeks, and sometimes daily if you keep reoffending. So that varies on what the nature of your probation is. But basically, if it's an administrative probation, every 3 months, just check in with your probation officer, pay any monies there is, and then you should be all set at the end of your probation period. That's good. That's very good. So if at all I'm this notorious person who is always in courts, and before like they give me 1 year probation period, and then before that 1 year expires,
I really run into another trouble, like somebody else offends me, and I'm like right in that person's face, and that person calls police on me. Have I done any wrong right there?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, probation, you're supposed to stay out of trouble during that period.
Whole time.
That period. So anything that happens during that time, one of your major conditions is to do not commit any other law, abide by all local, federal, and federal laws, including child support payments if they have any. So if you fail to do so, then that basically triggers a violation right away.
So if you are on child support, and then you're in child support somewhere else, and then you have this probation period, so somebody can come and say that even she's not paying child support and yet she's on probation, and they can still issue a warrant for you?
Yes.
Oh.
So child support is one of, and people, that's another misconclusion people have. That's a federal law. If you have a child support order, you have to pay it.
Yes.
So failure to pay your child support order, that's a violation in its own.
So if you have child support out there, I'm telling you, it's high time you start thinking about payment of your child support, because it's a federal law. They'll come for you regardless of where you are, okay, and what you're doing, because you're violating certain things. So basically, is there anything like in the legal system that you feel that people have more misconception about, especially when it comes to disposition?
I think what people usually think is if they get arrested, they are going to be deported or something happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way, and it doesn't happen that quick.
Yeah.
There's due process that needs to happen. And another thing, most of us get picked up for driving without a license, little minor offenses, and they choose when to come, or you have an offense like driving with a suspended license, and you go hire a lawyer worth $5,000 every hour. It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Usually those kind of offenses, right, they're dismissed on court costs, or if you make efforts to get your license or anything like that. The courts are more willing to hear from you and work with you.
Yes.
So I've seen a lot of people, especially my fellow Ugandans, come into court
with a $5,000 lawyer.
With a $5,000 lawyer when the case is going to end up being dismissed on $150.
Yeah.
But you've already paid this lawyer, but you still get the same disposition. That's why at the beginning of this conversation, I told you, please come to the court and ask for help.
Ask for help and ask questions.
And ask questions.
Yeah.
The beauty about us being Ugandans is like we're British colonies and we speak very good English.
And everybody knows that we do speak good English.
Right.
Because when I go there to help people translate for them the legalese, they are always telling me, but they speak English. I say, they do speak English. Right. All they don't understand is the court terminology. Exactly. And they are trying to understand the court terminology. That's why they opt to have a person to help them translate. So I'm glad that has been said out there. So we should stop having this conception that without a translator or somebody to help you interpret, you have to pay for that person. Yes, the immigration court, when you're first starting to go to an immigration officer, that immigration officer is going to tell you if you want to opt for an interpreter. So the immigration officer would go ahead and give you that option for you to do it. But when you go in front of a judge, now when it has moved to an appeal process, because they're going to send you to a judge, and so if your case hasn't been approved, then you will request for an interpreter. That way you are able to know both languages and you're able to think coherently. Most of us, we cannot think the same time when a person asks you a question. Right. Because in our language, you first think about the question. So if they ask you, hey, Maureen, did you travel from Bundibujo to Weranyanji? And then you go like, but here, when I repeat it for you, he has said, Watambula nove Bundibujo no gende Weranyanji. So to you, it comes calmer, and your response has to be more appropriate. So that your demeanor, talk about demeanor. You know, most people come into court and they want to throw their demeanor in there. Demeanor is the character. The judge looks at your character so much. Olivia, I want you to throw some light on that.
Yeah, your presentation.
Yes.
How do you show up? How do you talk? How do you interact with others? All these things they contribute a role. Because remember, the judge sits on top of the bench.
Yes.
So he sees everything.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, be polite, be respectful, but also make sure your point is getting heard. Don't just be kicked under the rug, but always be polite, be courteous. It's okay to open the door for somebody to come in. It's okay to say good morning. It's okay even if the judge is talking and you don't understand what the judge is saying. It's okay to just say, excuse me, Your Honor, can you please repeat that for me? They'll repeat it for you. Just don't be like, oh, I didn't hear. Or most people come into the court, they are so pissed off at the world. I understand we all have different things going on in our lives. But nobody wants to know why you're pissed off today. Nobody cares how you woke up on the wrong side of your bed today. Just come in, be polite, be respectful, and always be courteous. And also, your dress code matters.
Your dress code matters.
Your dress code. If you're coming into the court, please dress professionally. I'm not saying have a tie, have a coat, a three-piece suit. At least have good dress
casual.
Exactly.
Good casual,
Be presentable. Because remember, a person can judge your character by the way you present yourself.
It's always the first time appearances that are lasting impressions.
Exactly.
So if the lasting impression to me is that you came when you're ate up, in the military we call it ate up. I'm sorry to use that language, but that's what we call it. We go like, oh, that person is so ate up. You know, that means that everything of yours is ramshackled, you know. So if you come and then everything of yours is just warning, everybody is like, I'm not giving that person an ear. So you're already creating bias, and then so somebody is not going to hear you well because they're trying to judge you immediately as you come in. But we prefer that you come and you are very, very polite. I cannot stress that enough. Yes, you're mad, but just compose yourself. Composure is everything. Compose yourself and present your case, because your case will be heard regardless. But don't roll eyes on the judge. Don't raise eyebrows, because all these things the judge is seeing. Just shaking your head like, oh my God, this person is really doing it to me. That is all wrong. And so the judge is like, oh, so you think I'm not doing my job, or you want to show me how to do my job? And right there, you're already creating situations which are not good for your case. You're rubbing shoulders, and that is not good. So we urge you, Ugandans, I know we lose our heads very quick, but when you're in that place, try as much as possible to look at your demeanor, to look at what you're doing inside there, and present yourself well. There are people who don't have lawyers, and they prefer to present themselves and win these cases. Yeah, it doesn't mean that every time you need to have a lawyer. You can present yourself alone and then articulate yourself, put your remarks, put the punch holes, I always call them punching holes, into the allegations that are brought before you, and then apply the law, because the law has to be applied. You can't talk without applying the law. Most people, that's where you will need a lawyer, because if you can't put a law in place, then you're not representing yourself. So you have to know where the law comes in and where it doesn't work. But I prefer you to do the right thing at the right time, and let's build a better community. Let's be law-abiding people. Let's look at the law as it is. Let's not use the law as favoritism. I had somebody talk to me the other day and say, oh, Afande Maureen, I hear that judges here can be bribed or something. Can you shed light on that? I told that person, I've never heard of it, and I'm not going to even entertain that question. But I just want us as court officials to tell the community out there what we really know, that this cannot happen.
It cannot happen.
Yeah, thank you.
No, not here. It cannot happen.
That was back in Uganda, maybe in our systems, that those can happen. But in here, the judge is there to dispose of justice. The judge is there to listen to both of you. And the judge is there to help see that, you people cohabit together in unison, not to be always in conflict with one another. Yeah,
and the beauty about this is like the judge, you can always appeal the judge's position. So judges know that. That's why we have the appeals court or the appellate court in Boston. So if for some reason something happens in the courts of law and people don't agree with it, or you think you were unjustly sanctioned for something, you can always appeal it in the courts of law. So the judges are aware of that. So they have to follow everything by the books, all the policies and procedures in order to be fair and impartial. So they cannot be bribed.
All right. So we've had some questions here. You can also put your questions onto the live Facebook and give us your questions if you have any. But as we're going through, they're trying to tell us that we have not worn the dress code. And I'm telling you, lawyers have a dress-down dress code. And this time it's a weekend, as somebody has put it. Thank you for putting it, Malaika and Naomi. Thank you for putting it out there. It's a weekend dress code. We're not going to dress in the suits that you so much desire. That has to be Monday through Friday. Right now, it's the Diaspora Table Talk. We are here to give the table talk of what is happening in our diaspora. And today we wanted to bring out the legalese. We're not bringing out the lawyers in us, we are bringing up what happens in the criminal justice system. So we are lay people in the community talking about the legalese in the court system. So that's what we have seen, envisaged, and trying to do. So yes, we're not going to wear the way you want us to wear because it's our dress down day. And we want to do the right thing and present ourselves as you people, not to present ourselves putting all this camouflage, and so that we are not reachable people. We are people as you are, and we are in the community like the way you are, and we want to present ourselves as you. So it's your casual day, it's my casual day too. So in this Diaspora Talk Show, you're going to find that we're going to be always dressed down to earth, because there's no point why we have to dress our suits to come and preach to you. But we can dress the way we can dress and then preach. Because it's not about the dress code, but it's how presentable you look. And that's what we want to put out for you. Thank you. Another person who talked about, is it okay if my lawyer keeps on reporting for me during the probation period? Or is it a must to appear and write to the probation officer personally? It's perfectly okay for you to appear to your probation officer personally. And usually if there's a violation being alleged, the probation officer will ask you, do you want to represent yourself or do you want a lawyer to represent you? If you want to represent yourself, it's perfectly fine. Remember, probation, it's a collaborative relationship with you. So you don't need to have a third party in between. You can always talk to your probation officer yourself. Yeah. So I want to give a kudos out here. I see David Lubura is watching. Oh, my brother DJ Kasenge is watching. Brian Musoke is watching. Pamela Dungu is watching. Kudos, Pamela. Winnie Zawede from Minnesota is watching. Mariam Sanyu is watching. Yamungu, that's women empowerment right there. Kathy Tendo is watching. Kathy has asked, the court system is black and white. I don't know what question that is. The court system is black and white. I don't know what it means. I think I would think that you mean that is it transparent? And I would think it is, because that's where you come to seek justice. I wouldn't think anything else. You know, I don't know what you're meaning, but if you could throw more light to it, that would be good. My brother David Makumbi is watching. Nantu Sam, thank you for watching. Brian Preston is watching. Thank you for watching. Barbara Cheine, Sarah Joy Bakanasa, Angela Mulindwa Cheine, kudos from Tennessee. Asimwe Amot Moses is watching. Gerard Samba, thank you for watching. Karunji Alice, thank you for watching. Missy K. The Belly, thank you for watching. Malaika Naomi, thank you. Yeah, that's all about it. And that's their comments. I think now they're replying to each other. So in case you have any other questions, we are here. Oh, my brother Fred Wawire is also watching. I hear the court system here favors the whites than the blacks. Would you say more thing about that? The court system favors more the whites than the blacks? I think that's very stereotypical. That's what we think it does. But I think a lot of plays into it. Don't get me wrong, there's still those
the minorities there that feel like they are not being represented properly. But as I said, these policies and procedures, I don't think they favor blacks and whites. They don't.
Most of why I think people would think that most of us that fall in trouble who are blacks, we are notorious people who keep doing the thing over and over again.
Right.
You know, when I was studying law at Northeastern, they said that most of the court system, the person who has committed an offense, especially a black person, statistics have shown that this person will come back to do this actual offense. They will come back to do this. If they have been violent to their spouses, somehow they're going to be violent throughout. You find that even to the children or anything.
Right.
So somebody's going to bring up, they were in a community, they had a fight. And so the violence goes continuing, and somebody can see the repetitiveness of what this person is doing. So maybe this person now creates the bias that, oh man, they're not favoring. But guess what? It's you who is doing these things over and over again. So when you're appearing, everybody goes, isn't that the person who, because the court remembers you. One thing these people forget is that the court has forgotten all about you. That when you turn up after 5 years, they won't, no, the system, they pull up whatever you've ever done, and it's right there. So shed more on that.
I think that's what people forget. There's something called a CORI. Everything you do, any interaction that you have with the criminal justice system or the law enforcement, it's put onto that. So it's a rap sheet. So even if something happened 10 years ago, it will still be on it. Even if it happens 2 days ago, it will still be on it. So if you come in front of the court system, they'll pull it up to show, hey, Olivia has been involved since she was the age of 18. So she has like a 10-page record. So that may cause to it being a bias. Because basically they're going to look at you different. Somebody with a 10-page rap sheet compared to someone with a 1-page rap sheet. Or better still, nothing. So there'll be differences there. But just be mindful, everything will stay on that rap sheet. You might be 50 years old, but whatever happened when you were 18 is still going to be there. Yeah. So just be mindful about it.
All right. So thank you so much for letting us know about all this criminal justice, and knowing that I did a whole master's degree in criminal justice, so I love it. I did it from Kaplan University, and it's one of the areas that I found myself very, very fascinated about. I love criminal procedure and I love criminal law. Here, they're two different areas. In Uganda, they are both. We study them at the same time, but in United States, they distinguish the two. So I wanted to have that. Next time, maybe we shall talk about the house arrest, the car search warrants, and so that people coming to know how a police officer would get into your house or would be permitted to be into your car. And if at all you got on a DUI, when are the times you don't have to consent, or the police officer can go into your car without a warrant, especially in the DUI areas. So these are the things that we're going to be bringing to the community or to the public to talk about. Remember, it's a table talk show. We sit at the table and analyze what exactly is happening in our communities. Right now in our communities, we have the social media. It's really disorganizing the whole community. Have you had instances in probation officer where social media has become an issue, or have you ever seen in court system that you want to throw some light on?
I think it's just the era of internet. People post each and everything online. Your lives, your personal life, they put obscenities there, whatever the case is. It's alarming. I just think we need to be mindful about what we're putting out there. Because again, that's something that stays with you.
Yeah, and it's incriminating.
Yeah, it's incriminating. And sometimes Facebook has been subpoenaed multiple times to produce something. So you might put something out there, delete it, thinking it disappeared. It didn't disappear. Because once they get that subpoena, they'll put it up and it'll still be there.
So thank you for letting the public know, because some people think, oh, I deleted that posting, or I blocked it, or I did something, so it's not going to come back. But guess what? Facebook is monitored by what? The Federal Bureau.
Right.
The FBI is going to be the people who are going to be investigating your Facebook, because people think that it's always a local thing. Facebook is international. So most of the people who are, if you commit fraud on Facebook or you do something that is not right on Facebook, the FBI will come for you. So you wouldn't want to get into that arena. Start knowing what are your rights. Start knowing what you post. Do yourself, post about you and what fascinates you. Stop those things of rubbing shoulders or putting there false information or trying to insinuate trouble, because most people bring out trouble. You know, you are starting to insinuate things that are going to brew up communities. So when the communities are rising up, because communities are going to rise up, I want you to tell me one of the significance when a judge sees the whole community coming to court to support somebody. If they see that, oh, the community has risen up to support something, how does the judge, look at it?
To support something or somebody.
Or someone.
I think it could go either or, but still, if we're posting stuff on social media, that will be brought up in front of the courts of law, and that might not be favorable to whoever is bringing all these people. Yeah. So I just think it depends in what capacity the community is coming up. Usually, if you have support system, let me say somebody's getting arrested and we have people in the audience,
yes,
that's very good.
Very good, yeah.
You want the courts to think that you have a sense of belonging.
Yeah, you have a sense of belonging. You have good character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes if Olivia is arrested and then I have my mom, my dad, my sisters, everybody in the audience. Yeah. That shows that I'm a family person.
Yes.
Or maybe it brings out some qualities that you might not basically see by just looking at me. So that's always a plus, but it depends in what format are you bringing it in.
Yeah.
Some people come in, I see it a lot, especially in restraining order hearings, the civil matter that we talked about at the beginning, that they are disagreeing about whatever it is that they're disagreeing about, but they have like 20 people one side of the road supporting one person and the other 20 people supporting the other person, but they are all sending obscenities towards each other. They are clashing. That's never a good thing.
Yeah, it's never a good sign. But communities have to rise up to stand up to areas where things are not working out well. So one of the person has asked us, how do we contact you councillors? We are very, very much into the New England Council or the New England Diaspora area. I am Afande Momo. I'm always having my page, Uganda Community Lawyering, on Facebook. And she's Olivia Nambi. And I don't know if she feels good to give her contact, but you can find her in the Massachusetts Trial Court. And if you go into the Woburn or you're in Newburyport. Yeah. Now she's out of Newburyport. She was once in Woburn when I met her. So now she has advanced to the Newburyport. So once you go to Newburyport courtroom, you will find her there. And so you can reach me. My name is Afande Maureen. And I raise out here in Massachusetts, Boston. And my number is 857-800-7963. 857-800-7963. So thank you for watching. Olivia, thank you for coming and tell us about what the court system is all about, because people, if they listen from one side of the story, which is Afande Momo, they may not get the picture. But if they hear more voices coming out to say the same things that Afande Momo is saying, then we are sending the right message to the communities.
Right.
Thank you for building better communities, because when you come out here, we know that you're building better communities. I want to tell you that you always see Olivia with me, because we are working to build better communities. We are working to make sure that the law is imparted into you. We are working to see that everything in New England improves. She's the UNA New England Council Secretary. She's one of the people on my committee that are helping us improve New England. So if you have your query, your questions, you can reach out to me. I'll forward you to her. I don't have anything. Don't say that, oh, I don't want to talk to her. No, just talk to me. I'll lead you to the right direction and point you to her. Or she can also get herself a public number that she can share with you. So those are the things, or she can talk to you about it. So Olivia, in a few words, how can you wrap up?
I think this is a great opportunity just to educate our population. And please come with questions. I know a lot of people were concerned about our dress code, and I believe you addressed that. It's our chill day. It's a Saturday. We don't want to be dressed up in suits and heels. It's a Saturday. But we are come with questions. If you want to reach me, you can send me an inbox on my Facebook page. It's Olivia Malaika. And then if we need to talk further, I can give you my personal contact. But reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll be more than glad to answer any questions.
All right, so thank you so much. This is the Diaspora Table Talk, and we are always here every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, we come here to do the Diaspora Table Talk. So thank you so much. We'll be right back, end of October timeframe, to give you more about the diaspora and what is happening in the diaspora, and feed you more with the information that you so desperately desire. So we thank you so much. We are there for you. You are there for us, and we hope to make better communities through the Diaspora Table Talk. Thank you. Afande Momo, out.